Hello, I'm Eilish.
And I'm Mary Byrne.
And we have never done a podcast before, as you can hear. And we're both a bit nervous, aren't we, Mary?
I am very nervous. My legs underneath the table are just going...
And I don't know why, because we're we should be used to...
Well, the last thing is, we walk out on stage, I walk out on stage and I sing.
Yes.
And I tell my life story. And here I am sitting at a table with Eilish or Carol, and my legs are going like the hoppers, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, we're hoping that you will enjoy what we have to discuss today, and for the rest of the podcasts that we hope to do.
Yeah.
Now we're going to talk about anything, and because we've never done anything like this before, nothing is rehearsed, so this could go anyway. What we would like to do is talk about various things.
Yes.
Women's health, mental health.
Well, you see, the thing is, we're hoping that at some stage, because it's only a new podcast,
yes,
we're hoping at some stage to have it all up and running and have, you'd be able to contact us, be able to send in messages, and we can then answer those messages back and have a bit of fun. Podcasting, for me, when I listen to them, it's about listening to the stories that the people are saying, or different... something that might happen in the newspaper, and they talk about it, and then they have a bit of fun with it. So that's what it's all about.
It's the art of conversation, really, a podcast, isn't it?
And it's been missing out of life because of our phones and our computers. So to sit here now...
And just chat.
To each other, and hopefully the people out there
absolutely
will enjoy listening to us, even though we might talk a biggest load of crap sometimes, but that's life. And that's what we do when we're in our sitting rooms or our kitchen.
You're very honest about your abilities, Mary. That's okay. I mean, quite frankly, I don't intend to talk the biggest load of crap, but I probably will end up talking about the biggest load of crap.
Yes.
Anyway, Mary, I think the audience, the listeners, would really like to know something about both of us.
Yeah.
Can we start off with you? Can I ask you a few questions?
You can.
When did it all start for you, Mary?
Well, I was singing when I was a youngster, and I gave it all up when I came into my 20s because I was too nervous to go on the stage. But I was singing on and off, and then at the age of 45, I decided it was time to do something different.
Really?
And I went back out singing with my brother, which everybody probably knows already. And then the X Factor came along, and I came into this side of the business now where my platform got higher.
Okay.
And then acting came in now. I mean, to be honest with you, I've never acted a day in my life. But I've been told once I've been singing on stage, that's a form of acting.
Of course it is. It's a form of performance. You're telling your story through song. Exactly.
And then I met yourself, your lovely self, and we became friends.
That's right.
So, I mean, from here on in now, we're going to be trying to do this podcast and get it out there as buddies.
Absolutely.
And we're still doing our own thing. Listen, the age we are...
Let's not talk about age, Mary.
I'm very proud of the fact that we are older women.
Absolutely.
Older ladies.
Wise older ladies.
Wise.
Hence the name.
You give the name out there now.
The Wise Owl Wans.
Yes. And remember, it's the Wise Owl Wans.
Well
so
done.
Owls are wise, and so are we. We hope.
We certainly hope. Has it changed your life at all, Mary? Fame, has it really changed? Has it had an impact on you?
Well, it's obviously had a slight impact. I mean, the fact that I'm not working in Tesco's anymore, and there are other supermarkets available, but I mean, my home life is still the same, but my work life is different.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not stuck in one place all the time. I'm travelling around the place like yourself.
Yeah.
And people would think I'm a millionaire, but
I know.
I'm far from a millionaire, but let me put it this way to you. I would rather do this and have less.
Absolutely.
Than be stuck what I was doing. Not that I didn't enjoy my job when I was younger, but at this age, it's a great opportunity to have this platform.
Yeah. Well, I think I feel that it's not about money, right? And I certainly feel that I have a much better quality of life.
Yes.
I'm certainly not a millionaire, but I have a much better quality of life. I don't have the debts I had beforehand. And for both of us, it all happened much later in our lives.
Right.
So I think it means that I hope anyway, that we come across as grounded.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, even if we weren't grounded, our families would keep us grounded. Well, my daughter would keep me grounded anyway.
Yeah.
And my friends, my long-term friends would literally just say to me, get off your high horse, girl.
Yeah.
You live in Ballyferm and be damn proud of it. And I am.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the benefit we have as coming in at a later time in life. and being older and wiser, I hope.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I mean, you yourself, when did you come into this?
Well, I started when I was running away from my life at the time, and I came back to Ireland originally in 1998. And I started working for Brendan as wardrobe mistress, and he was doing his first play, The Course, at the time, which was extremely successful.
Yeah.
And then he wrote another play, which didn't take off as well. And I was going between the UK and Ireland. And anyway, and the reason I'd actually taken the job, because he said to me, look, you've no idea where you want to settle. I'd always wanted to return to Ireland. So you've no idea where you want to settle. So why don't you come and work as wardrobe mistress for me? And it was obviously very cheap as well. So that would have been a plus for him. And then you can decide, because we're in every different county at the time. We weren't. He wasn't doing the UK at that stage. And I said, yeah,
he was all around Ireland.
It was all around Ireland, yeah. So I said, yeah, why not? I'll come along, and I did. And the beauty of this industry is that you can disappear, and by that I mean, there's so many divas in this industry that nobody really wants to know anything about you anyway. Yeah. So my secret was my secret, right?
Yes.
And I could keep it like that. Yeah. So that's what happened for me. And then in 1999, Brendan came up to me and he said, listen, one of the girls, he had written the first of Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Yes.
And he came up and he said, one of the girls has to take a bit of time out. Will you stand in for her, play Winnie for a couple of nights? And that's exactly what I did.
But didn't you play Maria's mother?
I played
the original
I played them all. I played Maria's mother. I played Betty. I didn't play Maria, I was far too young, but I played Betty, I played Maria, and I played Winnie. Yeah. And I played the doctor. So I was kind of the understudy.
Yes.
So I was really getting a great deal of experience.
So you were a jack of all trades in
well, I still am.
Well, right? No, you're Winnie now, and you are a huge
I am. But I'm available for other parts. I just want to get that out there,
yes.
Mary,
And so
I don't want to be typecast, I'm available for other parts. But yeah. So anyway, that's what happened, and the rest, as they say, is history. Now, that was well before the BBC took an interest in Mrs. Brown's Boys as a sitcom.
I do remember, when Brendan was struggling trying to get this show up and running. And I mean, the likes of our own televisions wouldn't even entertain him.
No.
And yet he was on the Late Late Show many times with Byrne. I remember seeing them, and his little ponytail in the back of his hair. I do remember it very well.
That's well and truly gone, yeah.
But it's funny the way, he had to kind of go to the UK to make a hit.
Absolutely.
When he could have done it here, and our local stations could have really had a big hit on their hands. But unfortunately, it's the way it works. I mean, look at me having to go to the X Factor to get myself
noticed,
a platform and noticed. So it's
because
sad.
the talent was always there.
This country is full of talent.
Absolutely.
There's no outlets for it. That's the problem.
Well, I think we're very small pond compared to the UK, right? So over here you have to be a big fish in a small pond, right?
That's true.
To be successful. But in England you can actually be a little fish and make it big. That's how I feel. There's geographically there's a lot more numbers, demographically there's a lot more numbers, and so on and so forth. So and this is why I think we do so well. Irish entertainers do so well in the UK.
Definitely.
And Mrs. Brown's Boys was no different. It just went viral when it first went out.
I remember the first time watching it and thinking to myself how proud I was.
But you've been watching it from the very early days, Mary.
Early days.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember the little videos he made, and with great quality in them.
Yeah.
But I remember some of the actors that went into it, and I mean, Under the Bridge when what's the eldest fella's name? I know the whole lot, but what?
Oh, I know.
I know. I'm his
Pepsi.
bad.
Well, we call him Pepsi, but Pat Shields.
Yeah. He tells his brother Dermot that he can't read and write.
That's right.
I mean, I remember all of that. Now it's been done again in Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Yeah.
But I remember it being the first time, and I always remember thinking to myself, wow. Yeah. To put that out at that time, because you're going back, I think, to the early 90s or maybe early 20s, where, reading and writing wasn't spoken about a lot.
No, and people were ashamed to admit it.
I mean, I can't spell, and I left school at 12.
Yeah.
I can read, but I can't spell.
Yeah.
And I got through life by, trying to hide that all the time.
Absolutely.
So for Brendan to put that in his books in particular,
Absolutely.
and then into the show, I thought was a huge breakthrough for people wanting to go back to school and learn how to read.
Oh, yeah. And I think when his first play was so successful, which was The Course, and people came to the theatre.
I've never seen The Course now.
Oh, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I mean, I think it held, 6 or 7 weeks, if not 9 weeks, it ran to full houses in Dublin, and it was around at the same time as the Dublin Theatre Festival, who had knocked it back, by the way. So Brendan, being Brendan, of course, put the show on at the same time as the Theatre Festival, and he was the only play at the time that sold out. So anyway, so he did that, and I just feel he deserved. I know I was saying something and I've lost it. This happens when you get to a certain age, listeners, okay? You're in the middle of a sentence and you really want to make a point and it's there, but I've lost it. So I'm going to hand back to Mary. Sorry.
That happens to every single human being when you're in a situation, you're having a conversation. I've often done it sitting in my sitting room talking to my friend.
Yes.
And I'm in the middle of telling and then I drift off into something else and then I come back to the point and I'm going, oh, and I've done that when I was younger as well. So
right, it's not necessarily an age thing. Yeah.
Although we are beautiful.
So do you know where I was? Can you bring me back to what I was talking about? Thank you very much,
Mary. The thing I'm saying, what I was going to say is that a lot of people listening in, I hope listening in, that don't know Brendan that well will not, like myself, I didn't know he had a play originally. Yeah. And they don't know the struggle he had from early days up until now to have his success. So people think it was an overnight success.
They think it's an overnight
and
success.
And it definitely wasn't.
And I have to say, one thing I have learned from him, and most people who know him have learned, he's extremely inspirational.
Yeah.
That man can convince you that you can hop up, right, Mount Everest with 2 hands tied behind your back and you'll get there, right? So that's really kind of, that's what I've been exposed to.
Yeah.
And I kind of, and when I'm feeling kind of, when you're questioning and you go, oh God, I don't want to get up this morning, and I go, something, you're still pushing up the daisies. Get your arse out of bed.
Exactly.
And live for today, because that's all you have.
That's all you have. Tomorrow is promised snow.
Absolutely.
Now, the other thing I want to say is I'm doing a one-woman show at the moment, and I will give you this.
Yes.
That way back when I had done a cruise with Gertrude Byrne, and I was at the singing, and coming home through the airport in America, I met Brendan.
Okay.
And I got talking to him, and he said to me, why in the name of God, now this is going back probably 2012, 2013.
Okay.
Why don't you do a one-woman show?
Uh-huh.
And it was him that put that thought into my head. And okay, it's years down the line now that we're actually doing it,
And it is, I have to say, Mary, you should be so proud of yourself. That is some show.
Well, I'm proud of all the people who have worked on it, and I'm proud of myself, and I'm proud of the fact that I actually got this far.
Oh, fantastic.
The people have been behind me 1,000%. And I'm sure the people listening in now are saying, why are them two idiots talking about themselves? When we're just trying to introduce ourselves to the podcast and let you know a little bit about us. And the reason Brendan O'Carroll came up is because I'm very fond of Brendan O'Carroll and I'm sitting beside his sister. So it's obvious we're going to talk about something that's really interesting, which is Mrs. Brown's bias.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so during your travels then, during your fame, right, your rise to fame, we both have a rise to fame.
Yeah.
Tell me about the most, what amazing person, other celebrity that you met that stuck in your mind.
I've kind of met a lot of them, but one always sticks out in my head, and it was Sir Tom Jones, who I met at the Pride of Britain Awards. And it was, for me, it was the biggest thrill of my life, because my brother Tomo used to do a tribute to Tom Jones.
Oh, wow.
Tomo called himself Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
And it was through Tomo, my brother, that I went back singing and used to do gigs with him. So then from there, I got on to the X Factor with a Tom Jones song. So it's obvious that I'm a big Tom Jones fan.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that he was so kind to me, and he was still a handsome man.
Uh-huh.
And people say to me, who would you have, at a dinner party?
Okay.
Well, there's so many of them. But I wouldn't have a dinner party unless I had Tom Jones sitting at the top of my table.
Oh, not lovely.
So I've been very, very lucky.
Yeah.
A woman at 50 years of age from Ballyfermot to be given that opportunity by, I might say, the one and only Simon Cowell, who a lot of people don't know, think he's a hard man. Simon's one of the nicest guys, and I thank him from the bottom of my heart for that opportunity and for the guts that I had to take that opportunity.
For making that happen.
Yeah. Who is your...
Well, I'd like to say it was Tom Jones. I mean, Tom Jones was in the movie.
Yes.
Do you remember Mrs. Brown, the movie?
The Mammy. Yeah.
And he was in it.
Which I have on video.
I never got a chance to actually go and see it. Well, I went to see it, obviously, but I never got a chance to meet him because I just didn't get a chance. That was it. That was the, you know.
You didn't get a chance when you come down the lift and all the kids are standing there.
I mean, you know what it's like when you're on set.
Yes.
You know, get out of the way. You're a nobody. Get out of the way.
You're doing other things,
So the one person that sticks in my mind is Boy George.
Boy George.
And I had, and I met him when they were doing All Round to Mrs. Brown. And he was a guest with his mum on All Round to Mrs. Brown. And he was... You don't get to see the what they call the celeb guests.
Yeah.
They kind of come in when the show has already started. And it was a live show, right? And you kind of come in when the show has started. And he was sitting in the bar and over in the corner, and I'm sitting in my chair.
Dressed as Winnie.
Yeah, dressed as Winnie. But anyway, before the shoot starts, he came over to me, right? And he said, "May I say something to you?" And I was going, "Oh my God."
I know, yeah.
Oh my God. And I said, "Of course." Right? And he said, "I love you."
Oh my God, you were his favourite.
Yeah, he said, "You are my favourite." Well, that was just, I was 10 feet high. Now, maybe he just said it just because, I don't know.
But why would he walk over to you?
And he said, true. And he said, I love watching you. He said, "You are my favourite." And there's a bit of me thinking, I couldn't be your favourite, for God's sake. I mean, because, you know, there are so many other people. And do you get time even to watch TV? But anyway.
I'd say he does.
I must tell you a story, though, Mary.
Okay, go on, tell me the story. Now, this is exclusive story to me.
Exclusive to you, right? I remember once a friend of mine said to me, "Do you know that," it had been in the papers, that the Queen, Lord rest her, the Queen and the royal family get to see Mrs. Brown's Boys, the specials, before Christmas Day.
Wow.
So I said, "No." "Oh, yes," she said, "I was reading in the paper."
She'd find that
Not
funny,
only do they get it, but she said it was one of her favourite programmes, right? She really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if this is true, but I went with it. I thought, that sounds really nice. And she said, "Do you know what you should do? You should write to the Queen as Winnie and say..." And I said, "Well, I say, "Hi, Lizzie.
I just see Lizzie reading
Winnie
that.
here. You know, I believe you really enjoyed the programme, and I'd love to meet up with you.
You should have.
For a cuppa." I'd never had the guts to. I really never had the guts to.
Well,
and I thought, what's her address?
Buckingham Palace. She would have got it, or one of those people would have read it, and they thought it was interesting enough. You would have seen it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was very.
But you met the Queen. That's why I was telling you that story.
I was very lucky because, and she would be another one that stands out. I am by no way or no means a royalist. I do not understand why it's there, but you know, I've had the pleasure of meeting this lady when she came here, and in that historic moment that she arrived in Ireland. I just thought she was a wonderful lady. I tell you, she wasn't my queen, but I thought she, in her even from a young age, she tried to change, you know, some of the things that were going on in the royal palaces, wherever you call them. But when she came here, I actually got to sing for her, along with Westlife and some of our top singers. Yeah.
Oh wow!
And then she came up on stage and met us, and she shook my hand, and her very words to me were, "Your life must have changed by now." And I happened to say to her, "It has, ma'am." Now, I don't know if you're supposed to call her because, you know, I know you hear certain things. Mammy. She reminded me of my mother.
Exactly.
She reminded me of my mother.
That's really nice, Mammy.
But her words to me were, I said to her, do you get a chance to watch it? Mm-hmm. And she said, "Oh, no. She said, I mean, we're in bed very early, but the grandchildren may get a chance to, sometimes they record these things, and I have seen you. I've seen a good few of them." And I thought that was lovely. Whether she meant it or not, I don't know.
Absolutely.
And then the other fella, her husband, is coming behind him, Lord of mercy on both of them, and he was as mad as a hatter. I mean, he's going, everybody stood to clap her. Yeah. And he's standing there going, "It's mad, isn't it?" And I said, yeah, shaking his hand. But no, you know what? She's a person who's photographed all over the world, and the chances of this 50-year-old woman from Ballyfermot getting to meet her was 1,000,000,000 to 1, and there I was on the
And there
stage,
you were shaking her hand.
Now my mother would have given me a slap in the head.
And her saying, you know, your life must have really changed.
The president of Ireland had told her who I was.
Yes, yeah.
But and then to make we're going back to meeting someone famous.
Yes.
My memory of a young girl was listening to Gay Byrne on the radio in the mornings.
Yeah.
So I grew up with Gay.
Yeah.
And I was a huge fan of his. Now he could be, arrogant. He could be all these things.
I know. Yeah.
But that day I went to sing for the Queen, and I walked out on the stage, and I remember Shane Filan from Westlife saying to me when he seen me, I went, "Oh my God, is that Gay Byrne?" And Shane goes, "Yeah, but the Queen's going to be here in a minute." "Yeah, but that's Gay Byrne." And I will admit, I did run down to him. I was so... Like with Tom Jones, I met him, he kissed me on the nose, and I haven't washed my nose for years.
Right. But Gay Byrne was a childhood.
And I actually had a drink with Gay Byrne after that. We had a sing song outside,
He's a lovely man.
It was called the Board Gosh now.
Yes.
I don't know what it was called back then. So, he was, in my eyes, he was the king of Ireland in my eyes.
Yeah.
Now there's another king of Ireland. I'll talk about him later on, but we won't talk about him yet. But they were the three so far.
Okay.
That I had met as a working class woman from Ballyfermot. I just think that's brilliant.
And did you tell the Queen that your life hadn't changed? You were still living in Ballyfermot?
I didn't tell her I was still living in Ballyfermot. She probably thought I was living in a mansion somewhere. No, I definitely wasn't living in a mansion. Mm-hmm. But so it's been a good life so far.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
a great song. Thank God this was my life.
Yes.
Far from the high life.
This is my life.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, listen, just had confirmation of our email address.
Woo!
And
We're
it's
up and
called
running, girl.
the Wow Podcasts at gmail.com.
Yeah.
So that is the Wow Podcasts with an S at gmail.com.
So if you have any questions or you want us to help you, it's not that we can help you, but we give our opinions.
Yes.
Get in contact with us. We would love to hear from you, from the Wise Owl Wans. We will definitely give you as much as we possibly can.
Absolutely. And whatever issues you'd like us to raise or discuss, or any problems that you might have, Mary has all the time in the world, and she would love to hear what you have to say. So don't be alone. Yes. Right? Remember, Mary's at the end of the phone. Okay. Now let's talk about what we're going to do in the future.
What are you? What is your what's lined up? I know you've a hectic year.
Well, I have a couple of things that I can't actually talk about just at the moment. This year, I'm actually kind of free as a bird.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to be working on more podcasts with Mary Byrne, and I hope we get a chance to work together, Mary, because we did do a play, did we not?
It was fun,
and we had great fun. And
what was that called? Waiting for Gatto.
Waiting for Gatto. Yeah. And we did that, and that was great fun. So I had, it was my introduction really to working with Mary, and so I'm so looking forward to that again. So, and what about you? What have you got?
Well,
planned?
I don't have any TV planned at the moment, but I'm open to any suggestions to anyone out there in the TV world who wants to give us both a bit of a thingamajig. We're up there, we're out there, and we'll do it for you. But I do have my one-woman show, which is, I started off in the Civic in Tala, Theatre in Tala, and was a roaring success. Thank God. I don't know why, but I'm glad it was.
Oh, Mary, you don't know why. It was fantastic.
I know, but you know yourself,
I know. Start believing in your own press, girl, because you were absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
Blew me away, blew everybody away. People were on their feet and you hadn't even sung a note. So come on.
Yeah.
They were 100%
They were
behind
probably
you.
all drunk.
And when you were finished, nobody was drunk. I was stone cold sober. And when you were finished, it was such a lovely feel-good factor show.
Even for me, it was so touching. And I was so moved when I went back in. I remember crying.
Yeah.
Saying to myself, what the heck is that happening there? Mm-hmm. And we did 6 shows, I think. So I'm actually, I can't believe it. I can't believe that little show.
I'm going to book my
that myself and Rob Murphy have, put together, and Donald Shields and our manager, Cathy Cullinan.
Yes.
we put this show together and it's working.
It's working.
And the people are coming out to support, which is absolutely fantastic.
Well, I reckon there will be coach loads coming up from the country to see Mary Byrne.
And then there's, of course, coming up to Christmas, there's Panto, there's gigs, there's parties that I'm, private parties that I've been asked to do. So looking forward to it, forward to it. I mean, we give out when we've too much work, but when we've no work, we're sitting at home.
Let's talk about these private parties. Are they kind of... Are they exclusive? I mean, is it those you throw your keys into the centre of the table?
Right.
No?
And my key is not going into the centre. I have my fella picked out already.
Yeah.
So I'm still in shock at that it's doing so well. I get surprised at
I know
myself.
exactly what you're saying, because I'm exactly the same. Seriously, it's kind of, are they just being nice to me?
Yeah.
Yep, and it just tells us, I mean, we must have very vulnerable egos.
I think we have. I always say that, somewhere along the line we're twins.
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah, I think so too. Definitely.
Yeah.
Because we have so much in common. We are so much alike. Mm-hmm. You get the same nerves I get.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not that I don't believe in myself now. I mean, I believe myself a hell of a lot more than when I used to believe in myself.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate the fact that, if the show wasn't any good, people wouldn't bother their backside standing up. I mean, I get 3 standing ovations from these people.
Yeah.
But it's just, I'm in awe of the fact that all these people are supporting me.
Absolutely.
And enjoy what they're supporting.
Well, that's a very humbling thing to say, actually, Mary. And I agree with you, because I feel exactly the same way. And because it doesn't matter how many times you actually go on stage and how many times you do your own performance with your own show. When I have done my own show, I'm nervous every single time.
Yeah.
And I never take it for granted that because last night they loved it, that tonight they're going to love it.
Yeah.
It's and I really do appreciate their response. It's
like nothing like it.
Yeah.
You understand, when I used to hear about the old days and they talked about, the smell of paint and in the theatres and stuff like that, and why people, as low as they may feel as they're walking in the door, become this electric person on stage.
Yeah.
I understand that now.
So do I.
Because it's the feeling the audience give you.
Oh, it's the energy. And the energy is a two-way street, isn't it?
Definitely.
And it's like you plug into them.
Yeah.
And you plug into their response and they plug into what you're giving out. It's a two-way street.
And I think the one-woman show for both of us, when you're doing yours and I'm doing mine, we're bringing the people into our personal life.
Absolutely.
And that's why at the beginning of my show, I always tell them to sit back and pretend they're in my sitting room.
Yeah.
And we're having a cup of tea or a glass of wine. And it seems to grab them straight away. And that's what they want to hear. They want to know that they're part of what I'm saying.
They want it to be real.
Of course they do.
And I think vulnerability is we're not afraid to show our vulnerability,
and
because most people are vulnerable, right? And so they can actually connect with that. And I just love performing. I keep saying to myself, I'm never going to do this again. I keep saying to myself just before I'm going on, when I'm shaking from head to toe, what am I doing? Where did I ever think I could do this?
Yes.
You bloody idiot, get out. What do you give up? Get a day job. Do something different. And I go on and I just... Within 5 minutes, it's like electricity.
That's exactly what it's like for
me. Yeah.
I mean, I stand there and I go, why am I putting myself through this? My stomach is turning. I'm breaking out in coleslaws. Coleslaws? You can break out in a coleslaw if you want to. Cold sores, which I never had in my lifetime since I started doing the one-woman show. Breaking out in rashes. And it's unbelievable. And yes, when you walk out and you hear that applause and someone hands you a tub of coleslaw, you're all... I just had to throw that in.
Do you sleep well before a show or during the time you're doing shows?
No.
No, I don't.
I find it very hard I'm very restless at night time because first of all, you're coming out and your adrenaline is still pumping.
Absolutely.
So you go home and I sit up to about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I don't know what I'm doing half the time. Then I go to bed and in your head, I'm constantly going over everything I've just done that night because I know I've got to do it tomorrow night. Yeah. So I get very little sleep. And I think that runs you down as well.
Absolutely.
You should really go home and try to go to bed and try to relax. But unfortunately, when you have those nerves, it's very hard to bring yourself down from that time on stage and relax.
Yeah,
You
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I find that I'm my own worst critic. So I go home and I think, what bit did I forget?
Yeah.
I've definitely said to Marion, and when because she does the sound and she stage manages for me as well.
Yeah.
I say, Marion, did I leave something out? No, I know I left something out.
Yeah.
I know I left something out. No, it doesn't matter. She said it made no difference whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I did leave something.
Yeah. Jacko wants to get on the podcast.
Jacko wants to be on the podcast. So I do suffer, from not. I find now when I'm on the road with Mrs. Brown's Boys, I've gotten into the habit of actually coming home straight after performance and going to bed.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, within the hour you will go to sleep.
It's the best thing to do.
It is the best thing to do, because what happens is you're not feeding that adrenaline.
Yeah.
The adrenaline has to stop at some point.
Yes.
But if you don't go to bed, if you don't switch off, the adrenaline is going. And adrenaline is a wonderful drug.
It is.
But it can be a poison. So, you can implode on yourself. So
Yes.
you really have to manage it. So
Look, what happened to me after doing the 6 shows is I did get very run down.
Yeah.
As I said, I came out with a cold sore and I got a rash on the back of my hand.
Yeah.
My immune system dropped.
Yeah.
And it was so overwhelming, the show.
Yes.
What's happening. So I'm hoping with the show now that's going back out on the road.
Okay.
I'm going to try and take it a bit more relaxing and just come out onto the thing, because they're there to listen to my story.
Absolutely.
And I want to deliver the best I can to
Of course
them.
you can.
To do that, I need to be
You need to
healthy
be-
and rested.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. That's the plan when I got home from any
I
shows.
think you really need to
straight
look
bed
after
and
yourself.
sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Yeah.
People don't realise how hard it is. Not so much, it may not be a physical thing. Well, the singing
It's
for me
both.
would be a huge
It's
physical
mental
thing.
and physical.
Yeah, it
right?
is. And people don't realise that.
No.
And they don't realise the preparation that goes on backstage when you're getting ready to go on and you're walking up and down in your dressing room and you're shaking your hands
I'm
and
not.
you're sweating
And you're on the loo for
on
the
the loo.
10th time.
That's it.
Right?
10th
How
time,
can
yeah.
somebody pee this much?
Yeah.
In 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what it is. And
Yeah.
it's all nerves. And then as soon as the adrenaline kicks in, I mean, I've got arthritis. And I remember going out on the stage many a time singing a song.
Crippled.
And I'd walk out crippled and I'd be on the stage.
Oh,
It was
I know
like-
that.
It was like a miracle.
It's Dr. Theatre,
And
darling.
I'm there and I'm bouncing around the place.
Dr.
doing menopause
Theatre.
the musical.
Yeah.
I strapped my legs up and took every tablet I could take to stop the pain. And I walked out on that stage and we had a very little bit of choreography to do.
Yes, yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
I did it every night. And I remember the girls that I was working
Yes.
with saying to me, we're so in awe of you.
Because
we know the pain you're
in, yeah.
But you come out on that stage and you'd never think you had a pain. And I said, because once I'm on that stage, I don't feel
the
anything
pain- no, the pain
unless
goes.
I have to move a certain
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it is definitely it's Dr. Theatre. Definitely.
Yep.
No, I enjoy it. And I do enjoy when the people are with you. It is one of the most satisfying,
Rewarding, isn't it?
rewarding feeling you could ever get, that these are people are appreciating what you're doing
Yeah.
and enjoying you.
Absolutely.
And I just think that's lovely. It is, and I hope to do it until I'm in my 80s, please God.
Absolutely. Well, there's no reason why not, because this is probably the only industry, or one of the industries, that age doesn't seem to be a barrier. Having said
Apart from television.
Apart from television. But we do get the adverts for the funerals and the tenor ladies and all that kind of thing. I mean, let's be fair, right?
Let's be fair that they do put us on for the cremations.
Absolutely. And, inflammation. You name it, we have
And for
it.
the muscles in your
inflammation
legs.
cream. Oh, and, do you have your how to pay for your funeral it's all there. So we can't really complain.
No.
We're not likely to get our own TV programme, Mary.
Now,
I'm
going to say this to you. Do not say that to me, because my dream
Go on.
is to have a comedian show or a comedy show or a comedy sitcom where both of us are in doing sketches and having guests. I think that would be hilarious. RTE and the likes of, it's called Virgin Media now.
Absolutely.
You just got to get your act together.
Yeah, well,
and give us two Wise Owl Wans the opportunity. Do not turn around and say we're not going to get our own TV show, because that's what's wrong. When we reach a certain age in our lives, we think, that's it. We can go and do the theatres, we can go and sing a song, but we'll never get our own TV show. And yet you look around and you see the likes of Brendan O'Carroll, who's gone to the UK. I mean, if RTE doesn't want us or something, There's always the UK.
Yeah, but he's a man, darling. I mean, let's be realistic here, Mary.
He's a man dressed up as a woman, I suppose.
Not very good. They're not very good to the women in
well, we're just going to have to change that.
In media, are they?
No.
Right? I mean, you know, when you see the likes of, what's his name? Oh, for God's sake, I don't know. Good, really, really talented male actors into their 60s and 70s and sometimes in their 80s. They still get the lead part. They still get the gorgeous wife of 25, which is quite frankly, I think, quite sick. But anyway, they still get the wife, 25, 30 max, right? Now, or that's the girlfriend or that's the bit on the side. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to play a diva and I want a boyfriend no older than 30, right? Now, can you imagine the response if that were to happen? Can you imagine how disgusted people would be? It's not okay for a woman to have a playboy.
No, I know, I get that. But what I'm saying to you is that is not out of reach either. And there are a lot of chances for that to happen. Someone who can write a good play and make it happen.
Yes.
And, you know, I'd love to do something serious like that.
Yeah.
With a bit of comedy in it.
Absolutely.
To bring a light-hearted side to it.
Well, life,
It can happen. Mm-hmm. It can happen. I understand what you're saying. People would be disgusted. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't see anything wrong with a younger man going out with an older woman or an older woman
going out with a younger man.
Yeah.
No.
Or a younger man going out with a young girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
It depends on the age of the woman. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's nobody's business what age you are. No. If you fall in love, you fall in love. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen a lot. It's to do with other things is the reason the younger girl is with the older man. You know, that kind of thing. And the same, and vice versa. Yeah. So, mm-hmm. No, it's a tough world out there for everyone. Mm-hmm. But women of our age in this business, we do seem to get a little bit of a raw deal when it comes to TV and stuff like that. Theatre is not so bad.
No.
Because there's a lot of plays that we can do bits and pieces in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But getting a TV show or getting someone to believe in the fact that, especially here in Ireland,
that it would make good TV.
Yeah, it would make fantastic TV. Mm-hmm. But I mean, and the gas thing about it is, if you look at the age group of people who would sit and watch television in the evenings or during the week or for Saturday or whatever, are people of our age who would love to see a good drama.
Absolutely.
With our age group in it, having a little fling on the side, having upsets and things, and to show people that life doesn't end because you reach a certain age and you can still fall in love. You can still want to be with somebody. Mm-hmm. You can still, real life, you still need somebody to be with. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what age we are.
Mm-hmm. Of course it doesn't.
I just think I'd love to be a playwright because I would be writing for the older woman all the time and plays, making sure that they get a good part in it and a good side. So I'm hoping somebody out there listening to our podcast who's in the know will take it on board and give us Owl Wans.
Good on you, Mary. Good on you, love. Not? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Come.
Okay. So listen, that's kind of it for now. This is our first intro into podcasting, and I really do hope people get involved because I think we've had a good time, and we've done a lot of good subjects and good topics.
Have we?
A whole lot. I think so. I can't remember them.
No, I think we have. Yeah. As I said from the beginning, there's nothing rehearsed here. There's nothing scripted here. This was just me having a conversation with me mate, Mary.
Buddies forever.
And, and that is what life is about. It's about the art of conversation. Bring it back, please, where we went and called in to see our mates, had a cup of tea, eyeballed each other. It wasn't just a question of picking up the phone or going on WhatsApp or whatever. If you can't see people's faces and you can't see their eyes, you cannot see their soul. So do yourself a favour. If you haven't seen a friend for a long time, don't pick up the phone. Don't send a WhatsApp message. Get up off your arse and go and see her or go and see him. You will make their day. And guess what? You could make your own.
Very, you're very intelligent, God bless you.
And don't forget...
I couldn't think of the word.
And don't forget, we do have an email address.
Yes.
And it's called the Wow Podcasts @gmail.com.
That is the Wow Podcasts @gmail.com. Please get in contact with us, and we'll see you the next time. And we hopefully have a few little things we can call out some names and say things like that.
Absolutely.
Don't forget, we're here for you.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Say bye, Mary.
Bye, Mary.